something is happening. Hello, testing. I think we're still going. Okay, I noticed something was up when I kept getting this notification, and then OBS has a green little light. She says we're streaming, but something else told me we were offline. Anywho, I don't know where we got to. Soils like lasagna, climate, temperature. By climate, a big part of that is precipitation. Organisms, as in what type of little microbes are in there. Maybe we have insects in there, ants, maybe we have moles. Oh, what else? Mine is blanking. Parent material. What did it originate from? You also have topography, or relief, like where is it in the landscape. And then there's another one, I think that's about it. Might be forgetting one. So this is located at the base of the hill, and it's pretty close. It's a little further up than that flooded area we saw. So this is on a floodplain. And if I'm not mistaken, if you look in our muffin tin over here, there's not a lot of soil. Most of my muffin tins, like you'll see some other ones, they're pretty loaded with soil. You know, it's easy to get a lot of it. But this soil was very kind of firm, very hard to get into. So if I remember correctly, and I don't at all, so this is based off of what I can see from it. It's hard to see, but it looks like if we could zoom in here. Can I zoom in somehow? Okay, if you look at the soil closely, you see up here, okay, we have our first layer. Doesn't look like we have an O horizon. There's not a lot of twigs and organic material up top. It looks kind of dry too. It looks kind of gray up top, you know, not very brown. Doesn't look like we have a lot of organic material. Then down here it gets kind of orange. And if you look within the orange, we have these kind of streaks, kind of like, almost like lightning of gray in between it. So I believe that this was not, I don't think it was a fragipan. I think this might have had fragic properties. And I'm gonna try to find my pit cards for next time so we can have the exact information for all of these. But this is just a simple introduction. And a fragipan, I'll go into that a little later. But it's a very cool and interesting thing that you don't see everywhere in the world, and it's a kind of unique soil that we are still we still don't fully understand how it's formed. But what we do know is that it's associated with colluvium and high clay content, and with these streaks essentially. And the criteria for calling a fragipan is you need streaks that are 10 centimeters apart or more, and as you can see, these are very close together. So I think this would have fragic soil properties, and so we wouldn't quite classify it in terms of soil taxonomy as a fragipan, but we would consider it to have like fragic soil properties. So it's like kind of a fragipan, not really. It's on its way there, but essentially the theories is that it's found at the base of slopes. and it's found, you know, colluvium is, I've talked about this before, but it's the parent material that's formed when the rocks are falling down, caused by gravity, and they think it's caused by mudslides. Essentially, all the soil, all the rocks coming down the slope, you know, coming at this velocity, with the high clay, like, it'll kind of cement itself. They think, they don't really know, you know. And so these streaks you see is essentially the only area that the water can penetrate. So it's essentially like the soil becomes cemented, and then you get cracks in the cement, and then water leaks through these cracks and slowly leaches out the color, and you'll even have plants grow their roots down through these little cracks. I love Fragipan. I can talk about Fragipan all day, and I have some really cool Fragipan photos in the future, but for now this is a nice little introduction. And just to see, like, the consistency of this soil Fragipan, like, the other thing, the main thing, is that it's very firm. And as you can see, the soil here, I struggled with it so much that back in my newbie day, mind you, I was by myself. So I wasn't with, like, my professor and my coach for them to explain it to me and tell me. Hold on. So I didn't understand kind of what was going on with the soil at this time. I didn't really even know what a Fragipan was. And as you can see here, I had my sieve and I tried to wet sieve it. Because the soil is so hard, it's so firm, it's so cemented. I thought it was rocks. So I tried to get my sieve here, and you can see I wet it, but it's so high in clay that it became this mushy, kind of firm mud in my sieve. So I actually learned, like, the reason why there's no soil in here is because, yes, there are rocks because it's colluvium, but also because their soil was so hard to get out, it came out in these tiny little chunks of firm soil. So we'll go into Fragipan more later. Hold on, checking to make sure we're all okay with, like, sound and audio, because the stream did just end for a second. Okie dokie, we are good. We are grooving. We are moving. So, Fragipans, I think that's all I'll say. So this is also with the, I don't know if you'd call this on a floodplain, but this is adjacent to it. This is literally right on the riverbank. Like, this grass here, behind this grass is water. It's a cliff. There's like a foot or two, maybe 3 feet of soil, and behind that it's just water. And you can see at the base here of the soil pit itself, it's dark because it's wet. And these photos are actually taken about a year apart. The one on the left is the most recent. The one on the right is one I took a year ago. And you can see, because one on the left, it's kind of been dug out, because we had a shovel to dig it out a little bit, and that's why you can see this darker soil here at the bottom. And we actually do have, ooh, spilling secrets. So this is a very interesting soil. It's, as you can see from the other one, it's much softer. This is not hard and firm soil like the Fragipan. It's right next to the water, so a lot of the sediments, when that river floods, a lot of these sediments will come up, and you'll get a lot of the heavier stuff deposited right on the edge, whereas the much finer particles are going to slowly wash out as it spreads out on the side of the streams into the floodplains. So that's why you get these kind of banks forming next to rivers and stuff. That's caused from years of flooding, of it picking up sediment and slowly depositing it. Anyways, so this is the pit card. And this is what I was talking about, soil horizon. So there's a lot on here. It can be very intimidating at first to look at this and see all these numbers, and you got fucking like abbreviations and dashes and letters, and you're like math going on at the bottom. You got big words like hydraulic conductivity, all this shit, and it is a lot. It's highly technical stuff. But all it is at the end of the day is this. You know, all of this is just describing, is just humans trying to put on pieces of paper what this is, what we understand about this. And one of my favorite descriptions, I think, and understandings of soils has been from one of my professors, who said it is a bit like a creative art process. It is a bit like poetry, you know, because you have to be able to interpret the soils and describe them and talk about them and use the language to properly explain them. And soils are so variable, so diverse, that like even within a year you can see these look different. And that's based on, they were taken at, I think, different time periods, so also there's different saturation points and stuff. But like all of the classifications we have for soils doesn't fit all the soils in the world. There's tons of soils out there that we have no idea what they are, where they fit into our classification system. You know, it's just our, like, we have names for all the animals, but there's still animals in the world that we haven't discovered, or we have misidentified, mislabeled as a certain animal. We find out all the time, oh, this is a completely different animal, you know. Same thing with soils, but it's on a much more variable scale because there's so many factors that can affect soils. So we have this little paper where we talk about this, and we have to say, like, the class this is saying sandy loam. Loam stands for loam. SIL stands for silty loam. We got loam. We have the clay percentage, how much clay is in here. What I might describe on my paper would be different than what somebody from a soil scientist from a different state or a different country might describe, because we might see it differently from our experience, from our years. Something I've seen is that color is very highly debated. A lot of people see color differently, you know. This is basically saying 10YR43, like, you have your hue, value, chroma. It's saying, like, is this brown? Is this a lighter brown? Is this darker brown? Is this a gray color? Is this a brown color? I need to do just a little PowerPoint on just the Monsell color book, because this is a lot to get into. The numbers, the YR stands for yellow red, and Y stands for yellow. And it's like you have a little book and you're flipping through, and you have these little chips of color, and you have to take the soil and match it to the chip of color. But like what I see as 10YR43, somebody might see as 10YR44. And it's also like, what is the sunlight? If you color your soil on a cloudy day, it'll be different than somebody coloring it on a sunny day. What's up? Hey Toby, how is it going? No Overwatch for today. Well, actually maybe Overwatch for today, but I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't think I've updated it. And I know they're doing some Halloween stuff. But today we're doing a fun little PowerPoint. I thought I would finish it in like 30 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'll do like 30 minutes of PowerPoint, and then I'll play some video games. But I think it's almost an hour now. It's okay. Nice. I think we'll play, I have Red Dead Redemption, and I think I have a few other games to play after this. And also, depending on how my laptop is holding up with the Ethernet cable, we could also play a dinosaur game I have Oh, I was playing Red Dead. Nice, nice. Yeah, they're doing a whole bunch of like Halloween stuff. I want to see their Halloween event they're doing. I was looking at their little rewards and the mask and stuff, and I was like, not a lot of cool stuff. A little disappointed, but I saw they had some like multiplayer fighting games I wanted to play. It's so cool. Okay, maybe we'll do a little Red Dead after this. But now I need to sleep. That is A-okay. Betty, good night. You know, get your rest, get some Z's in. Well, we can always play Red Dead another day, another time. Good night, sweet dreams. I'll see you another day. Adios. That is very happy though. Next Friday? Maybe. We'll see. I was trying to make Saturday my new streaming day, but it's just... it never ends up happening. What time is it? Sunday. Okay. Send a message. Okay. I will. And that way we can plan it out and play a little Red Dead. Bye. Adios. See you later, alligator. And then the other part's in a while, crocodile. Ooh, I should see if there's another part to that. Good luck with the stream. Why, thank you. I will need it. I think I'm gonna take a little break. It's been about an hour. Let me see, quickly run through what I have left. I just had this thought. Oh, we're right at the end. Oh, my little turtle. Okay. Well, yeah. I just had the thought. Well, I had the thought a while ago. But this is very much like practicing being a professor. I made a PowerPoint. I put photos on it. I'm telling you guys a little story about what happened to try to make it funny and silly and get you to pay attention to the soils and trying to teach you guys about soils. This is crazy. This is what it'd be like if I was a professor on Zoom and I just had my little computer and I was like, okay, you guys, let's look at our little photos. Let's learn about the soil. Like, oh, I could do this, dude. I am doing this. Anyways, that RSO oil. I do have a dream of one day. I think it would be cool to be a soil professor in the future after I've seen a lot of soils, experienced a lot of soils, so I have a lot to teach students. And hopefully by then I'll been doing this long enough that all of you guys will have learned a lot about soils. You know, you'll know we're learning the foundations right now, but y'all will be pros by the end of it. It's very intuitive. We all have soils we can learn from. You know, you literally just gotta go outside, just stick your hand in the soil and just start playing with it. Bam! You're a soil scientist. Where is I going with this? Okay, there's something I want to say about this. Dude, I feel like a professor and it's like class is gonna end and I'm supposed to do my lecture in 30 minutes, but my lecture's taking an hour and a half, and I see now why class is like, it's never an hour. It's always like an hour and 30 minutes, or at least 45 minutes. Like, I see now. Talking takes so... I couldn't imagine. And then questions and... wow. Anyways. So, we won't go into all this right now. I just want you guys to see, like... to see this. And to know some things to look at here. Let me run through the basics. So, this is Master Horizon. So, this is, like, what is the layer? And the layers are, it's kind of like A horizons, your top soil doesn't have a lot of structure, typically high in organic matter. This P stands for pasture or plowed. Typically your AP layers are going to be 15 or 30 centimeters. Your B, that's your kind of like, that's your meat of it, of your lasagna. That's your chunk of it. That's kind of like, it's not your A, you don't got really high organic matter, but you have some structure development, you have some colors. Typically we have like, you know, black or brown soils up here. We get our lighter brown soils over here. W stands for weakly developed. So something like this you could see in a floodplain where the soil is constantly changing. It doesn't get a chance to really build that strong structure. You have grade and shape. Over here, shape stands for like the soil beds themselves. You know, the soil, you break it up and you have little aggregates. So SBK stands for subangular blocky. But yeah, so a BW, that's something, it's saying not very developed horizon here. And then down here, so this is the really interesting stuff. This is the really cool stuff. So up here you see it's kind of dark on your right. You see it's kind of that dark soil, and you look on your left, you also see that kind of dark soil. And that's essentially what I was talking about earlier with the floodplain. That bottom down there is where the soil used to be at. That used to be at a horizon, and all this stuff on top of it, at the bottom of the left photo, all the stuff on top of it slowly was deposited by the floodplain, slowly deposited by the river right behind it until it built it up, you know. And you have a whole nother soil profile, a whole nother, this is, how many feet is this? Profile depth, 152 centimeters of soil was deposited on top of it just by the stream, just from it flooding, you know, stuff like that. And also I think it was by some crops, so people could have also manually pushed some soil on, but so this is something you don't see often. And down here, so this B, the subhorizon, so your letters you're going to have is A, B, O, E, or C. E stands for alluviation. That's something you don't see too often. We'll get into that later. O stands for organic horizon, and that's, some people call it the duff layer, but that's the horizon you have on top made of, you find it in forest. All the leaves and stuff. You see up here we have grass, so we don't have an O horizon. We don't have any leaves or stuff. This is just grass. So down here, this is BC/A/BC. So this is a B horizon, somewhat C horizon over an A horizon. And they wrote it under there because they're saying they'll also accept an A horizon /BC horizon. So this is saying down here we have, some of it is an A horizon and some of it is a B/C horizon, which C horizon is the horizon which no structure, because that is typically like the parent, that is the horizon that you typically find at the bottom of soil profiles, and that is what everything else is kind of weathering from, you know. Well, we're gonna watch a quick little video. We'll watch the video next time and I'll explain it a little better. But see, then right here, this AB, so this B over here stands for buried. So it means this horizon was buried. It was formed and developed, and then it was buried by more soil. And it was formed before it was buried. So this AB stands for, it was an A horizon that was buried. You can see down here that dark color, that you get that color from it being rich in organic matter. So way back when, like, this was probably more than a few hundred years ago, probably it's a few thousand years for this to happen. But this probably used to be like just a grassland, just a prairie land with high organic matter, and just eventually over time it got filled in, covered, buried by soil. Very cool stuff. This is my weakness. I'll talk about this later, but I have not culled a buried soil once or twice, and it's killed me. Over here we have redox features. That has to do with water table, and yeah. Depth, this is the distance. How thick is the layer? Boundary, is it a clear boundary? Like, these are very clear, but this one, you know, it's not as easy to see the layers. Is it gradual? This is our texture class, which talks about, we'll get into that another day. Structure, the shape of the soil. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. I just want you guys to understand, like, the basics. So this is another soil. This soil, I believe, was on top of that slope. So this is at the bottom of the hill. This soil pit was like right where this photo is taken, up here at the top of the hill. So I just wanted to show this one just to show that, like, literally this soil pit was not but a few feet away, but because it's at the top of a soil, at the top of a hill, completely different soil than you saw. This soil was on a floodplain. This is a different area, but this one is at the bottom of the hill. I should have fixed that. That's confusing. I see that now. This is at the bottom of the hill, and this one is at the top of the hill. But you see completely different color, completely different like structure and shape. You can see I got more soil out of this one in my muffin tin because it was softer and easier to get out of the wall. You also see more rocks, and you can imagine these rocks falling down there at the bottom to create that fragipan. So something about this one you can kind of see in the photo is that the structure of the soil changes. Like, you see that big rock right there, that white thing sticking out on the right side of the soil horizon, the soil profile. Right under that, you can see the soil, the way it was dug out, it becomes kind of like these steps. But above that, it's not. So just from looking at just the wall of soil, you can kind of see the structure changes. And you know, that says a lot about soil content, the firmness and stuff. I think this one was also had a lithologic discontinuity in that this one was also maybe buried. I don't remember, I'll have to check. But yeah, we'll skip through that. This one also, I think it was higher in clay maybe. But you can see it's a redder soil. And this was so close to the other one, but completely different. This was kind of close. This is mica and lithochromic colors. So this lithochromic color stands for color from rocks. So you can see here this gray, the middle photo, that gray stuff. Typically when you see gray soil, it's caused by depletions from water, where the water leaches the soil out. But this one was caused from the rock itself. It weathered in place, and it weathered those into those colors. Like this, the rock, essentially that's like the imprint of the rock. That used to be a rock, and that rock slowly, just from all the water and time, was slowly turned into soil, but it kept its colors. And the soil around it is very red, it's high in mica, and it's a very glittery soil. So it's very easy to see the difference between the natural soil around it and then the rock that got stuck here and weathered there. So that's just a fun little thing. Lithochromic colors, very interesting stuff. One of the big reasons why we knew this was a lithochromic color was like, you don't get perched water tables like this. You need water to be saturating the soil for long periods of time to get the gray colors. This looks like a fucking like boomerang. You know, you don't get, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would keep water in the soil saturated in this perfect boomerang shape for long periods of time to get it to turn that gray color. And also there itself, this gray soil was way different in texture from the soil up there. So that is how we kind of came to the conclusion that this was a lithochromic color. Not me, but my coach and a buddy old pal. Very cool stuff. Again, this is kind of an interesting soil, but kind of based on the right here. When you look at it, like, it's not as easy to see those layers of the soil, but it's pretty all, you know, the structure kind of looks the same through. The most interesting about it is that it's glittery from the mica. But yeah, these are kind of basic soils. Not basic. All soils are beautiful and amazing, but it's like, you know, this is soils. This is dirt, you know. You get some cool shit. Some are cooler than others. Different colors, different shapes, different sizes. Cool stuff. Oh, this one. So lately we've been looking at pretty sandy soils. This one is lamellae. Not lamellae, but this one, lamellae is something you find in sandy soils where essentially the clay gets washed down into these layers. And you can just see in my muffin tin, the soil looks so different because this was very high in sand. These other soils are pretty high in clay, pretty clay, you know, we got a loam, silt loam, 23% clay, you know, pretty average soils. This one was very high in sand, very sandy soil. You can see just the pit itself looks different. You know, it looks like a beach over here. And also these photos are, because something about soils is it's the basis of Earth. So it kind of is influenced by vegetation, but it also decides what vegetation is there, and then that vegetation decides what animals are there, and it has a greater impact on the ecosystem. So something I think that's interesting is looking at the soils and looking at the ecosystem, looking at the vegetation, because they're all connected, you know? So I don't know, with this little moth, I thought it was pretty, and that was a little mushroom. But just kind of show, like, so these are your soils, and these are the animals that are going to live on these soils. Because you will see a relation. So yeah, this you can see is 7 horizons. I couldn't fit them in my muffin tin, but the 7th is the pile of sand on the bottom, and that is going to be that sea horizon, where it has no structure. And that's what I'm saying, as in, like, it's the base that everything weathers from. You can see as you go up through the numbers, you get a change in color, but you get kind of more structure and kind of less sand. So yeah, lamellae is cool. This photo over here, that's a soil auger, and that's a gutter, and basically you're taking little soil cores out and you put them in the gutter, so you don't have to dig a big hole like this, but you can still get a little look at the soil profile. And this was taken just a few meters away from this, but the soil's less sandy, more clay, and you can see some depletions here, some little gray bits in the soil because the water table's higher over here. So yeah, cool. I love lamellae. Love this pit. Funny story. Maybe I'll save it for another time. I got stuck out here though, and I got to spend a lot of time sitting over here on the edge of this sandy pit, just fucking running my hands through the sand. I fucking loved it. I was able to do this little muffin tin because I was stuck out here with a group of other people, you know. But buddy, you fucking trapped me in the forest? You trapped me in a soil pit? Psh, hell yeah, I'm getting my horizons. Hell yeah, I'm gonna sit here and classify the soil and texture the soil and see how much clay and sand is in there. Everybody's like bummed out, like, man, I wanna go home and I'm hungry and gotta do homework tonight and gotta go to work, and I'm just like playing in the fucking sand, man. Putting my hand down in those holes and shit, just playing with the lamellae and stuff. Love it. Love it. Anyways, fun times. Good times. Good times. I can still, oh, God. Love the feeling of sand. Very, very sandy stuff here. Okay, our last, this is, we're rounding it out. I think I did good. I thought it would take 30 minutes, but an hour, I think that's good. So this is a completely different soil from what we've seen before. This is a wetland. This is out here, a tidal wetland, I believe. And as you can see, this is different from the soil auger from earlier because this one's made for muck and peat, and it's made for being in the water. So both of these soil cores were taken like feet from each other. The one on the left, you can see all of that thick, dark, like brown, almost black color. That's all organic matter. Because this soil, it doesn't have like an A horizon, it has an O horizon that's like 2 feet deep of just organic matter, thick soil. And then on the right, you can see again, like you have that about foot or so of just dark, thick organic matter, and then you have this gray. So that's those depletions I was talking about. So the water is saturated there to the point that all the color is washed out of the soil. And then this orange at the bottom, that is when the soil will dry out. You know, you have your wet and your dry seasons. That's when the soil dries out and it's introduced to oxygen, and then the iron is reconcentrated, pulled back out, and deposited essentially back into the soil, and that's what you see as this orange color. It has to do with the redox water and stuff. I don't know if I explained it correctly, but that's simple terms, layman terms. So yeah, cool stuff. Very soft, muddy, mucky stuff. It's a fucking swamp. Like when you step in this stuff, you fall down. Like you fall down through this soil. It has no soil structure at all. You know, it's just it's saturated by its fucking water. You can see in this photo, it's literally like water. You have a foot or two of soil, of water above the soil, and it's actually connected with the tides. So as the day goes, the water level changes. And as we were going through the day, these snails started crawling up the fucking plant, and I was like, holy shit, where did all these snails come from? And my professor, she was like, oh, those are you know, they come up when the tide gets high. When it's high tide, they come up from the water and they climb up the you know, the plants. And they were everywhere. They were all around me, snails just climbing up everywhere. And I was like, it was so beautiful. And I was like, that's so like the ecosystem and nature in the world, like it's so crazy sometimes. And this little turtle we found, beautiful little guy, but literally this water, like there's fish swimming in it. There's little fucking minnows. There's turtle and snails. There's little minnows swimming throughout this water. But it just goes to show again, like, the reason this soil looks the way it does is because of the water. And that water and the soil affects the vegetation. And the vegetation and the water and the soil affects having little turtles here and having little snails here. And it's just, you know, it's all connected. Great big ecosystem of life. And yeah, it's my little soil lecture. I hope you guys learned something. I've been talking about soil for a while, so hopefully some of this was just a little bit familiar. I know I talked about colluvium within the last fucking month. So somebody better recognize colluvium and fragipans. I think it was the last stream we talked about colluvium. Maybe I had a dream about that. I don't know. So I think I'm going to end stream. Take a break. Maybe take a nap. Possibly play some video games tonight. I'm gonna be honest, there is a 75 to 85 to 95%, I'd say 75 to 95% chance that I do not stream again tonight and that I just fall asleep and I go to sleep. And that's okay. I will play video games later this week then, if that is the case. But I just, listen, I need you guys to know about some simple soils. Some kind of, you know, a clay soil, a floodplain soil. We got some mica, red, beautiful mica soil, glittery mica soils, some sandy soils. So that when I show you the Minecraft soil, you're gonna understand how fucking cool it is. And just, like, you honestly, I didn't need to say anything. Just looking at this photo, looking at these photos, and then looking at the Minecraft soil that I'm going to show you guys, like, you can see it so obvious. Like, this is a rare fucking beauty, you know? But I want you to appreciate her. Because it's funny, it's Minecraft. But it's life. Real life is Minecraft. Or Minecraft is life. I don't know. What is the truth? What is reality? I don't know, but we had to teach you guys a little bit before you can see the Minecraft soil, so you can fully understand it, fully appreciate it, fully love it, fully get the joke, fully be like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. Eggplant, so silly, so funny. Anyways, no fun fact for today. This whole stream was a fun little fact. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little funny. I am losing steam and sanity by the second. RSO is nice. I like it. But then it's, I don't know. It's a different vibe from edibles. And it's a different, you know, like edibles, I feel like when the high hits you, it's like very noticeable. But with this RSO, with the, what does it stand for? The oil? It's like I can't really tell when it hits me. Like it sneaks up on you. But it's like I almost feel like I'm not high, but I know I'm at the same time very high. But it's like an edible but subtle. It's like an edible but almost like you weren't on an edible, but you're on a really strong edible, but it's like you don't feel like you're on a strong edible. Anyways, I hope that makes some sense. God, I hope any of this made some sense. Cause yeah. No, whatever. Even if I was talking complete gibberish, you know, you guys will still just see the photos and you can still see it and use your pattern thinking skills and be like, whoa, that soil's a different color than the other one. Whoa, that one looks slightly different than that one. Interesting, you know? Anyways, I think that's it. I'd love to play Red Dead. Maybe I'm fiending for Overwatch though. I don't know. We'll see. Later this week, I think. I have to go do some homework. So, if I do stream tonight again, that'll be a fun little treat, but don't expect it. I'm not gonna stream again tonight. I will stream later this week and play some video games. This was like a little lecture. This was our little like learning. Now we're gonna play video games. That'll be our discussion, our lab. We're gonna apply what we learned to whatever video game we play. God, should I be a professor? No. I mean, I want to, but not until after I've had at least 2 to 5 years in just being able to just work in the field, you know, get experience, travel a little bit. We'll see what happens. Y'all are welcome for teaching you guys some fucking, this is secret society. This is a secret society. My professor would always say, SOILS is a secret society. It's highly technical stuff. It's a whole language. You guys haven't even seen the active, typic, mesic, haplodalt, you know, fine, loamy, sandy loams. Like, you guys don't even know what any of those words. You guys might know what a few of those words mean now, hopefully, like sandy loam, but you're welcome. Y'all should be paying me. It's a secret. I see now why people are professors, because it's like, this is knowledge that took me years to learn. Literally got lost on a floodplain for an hour or two to learn this shit. And now I'm just giving it away for free? God. I'm getting chills. I think it's the RSO. But also, like, is that what it means to be a teacher? To educate? To, like, dedicate your life to learning something so then you can take what took you years to learn and master and conceptualize and teach it to people in, like, a month or two? That is actually so wild. So crazy. Dude, shout out to all the teachers and professors in the world and educators and anybody who's just sharing knowledge. I think that's beautiful. Anyways, an hour and 20 minutes. I'm out of here, y'all. That's it. Class is over. Lecture is done. Your homework. Think about what color your soil is. Think about, like, maybe you have some cool shit down in your soil. Maybe you have some unique stuff, like some lamellae or a fragipan. Maybe you have some spotted horizons, you know? But definitely think, what color do you think your soil is? Just when you're walking around, just think, you know, What color is this stuff way down beneath my feet? Or when you're walking, I fucking love walking by construction in the soil piles. They're called spill piles. No, spoil piles. Beautiful way to just see what color is that soil. Quick little look at it, bam, I can see the color of the soil, I can see if there's rocks, I can see the structure a little bit. But yeah, just something to think about. Also think about how much the soil changes as you're walking, you know. Or as you're if you're going to a new country or a new state, soil is going to be completely different. Anyways, we were going to watch a video, but I think that's too much. Your brains won't be able to handle all of it. I will see y'all later sometime. I almost said something sentimental. Oh my god. I won't. No, I won't. Anyways. Remember, most importantly, tomorrow's promised to no one. So enjoy today. Adios, y'all. Peace. Get outside. Go touch some soil. You know, rub it in between your fingers next to your ear and listen. Does it sound gritty? Then there's sand. Adios. Bye.